no matter the location. From O-A-K-L-A to L-V, I'm a Raider.
Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. Today's news and rumors presented by my good friends Manscaped. If you're a guy out there, if you're a lady watching, hey, go to manscaped.com/Raiders, 20% off and free shipping. Make sure Nathan Peterman is looking like the GOAT. All right, let's get into today's show. The first story coming up here, Russell Wilson. Raiders should trade for Russ. Oh, we're getting right into it. We're talking about Wilson. We're going to be talking about Carr. We're going to be talking about all sorts of players on today's show. But should they go and trade for Russ? I'm going to give it two Chucky heads, and people are talking. The person that's talking is actually Derek Carr's brother, David Carr. So let me walk you through exactly what happened. On Monday morning, NFL.com posted an article by David Carr which suggested that 4 teams on Russell Wilson's short list should have called the Seahawks yesterday about a trade. Obviously, David, okay, that's Derek's older brother. Even more curiously, I thought, David Carr's article quietly was revised after comments were spotted and publicized. What exactly were those comments? Well, the original version said this: if I'm on one of those 4 teams, I'm picking up the phone yesterday, which technically suggested that David thought that the Raiders should have picked up the phone yesterday, basically meaning ASAP Rocky, and called the Seattle Seahawks about a trade. Raider Nation got upset. People started bringing up questions like, wait a minute, why do you want your brother out of Las Vegas? And now a lot of people are starting to talk about it. The reason why David clearly said this is this, and it's pretty simple. As much as I like Derek Carr, Russell Wilson is a clear upgrade over Derek. Does that mean it's going to happen? No. But should you get mad at a guy writing an article and doing his job? No. Now, here's the updated version of the quote that for some reason was revised and nobody told anyone. So this is David Carr. If I'm a quarterback needy team. So before, okay, it was if I'm one of those 4 teams, he switched it to if I'm a quarterback needy team. I'm picking up the phone yesterday. He is everything you want in a quarterback with endless talent, arm strength, poise, and intelligence. Plus, he has the kind of ice in his veins that gives his team a chance to win late in games. No matter how great the deficit, he'll cost a great deal, but the on-field production and leadership you get in return would be worth it. So I saw a lot of people that were upset about that he revised the article. Don't be upset. You're allowed to go back and change your work. It's okay. But the reason why I'm glad that he updated his work is because of this. The Raiders aren't a quarterback-needy team. Can you upgrade at the position? Absolutely. But if you're sitting here telling me that if Derek had a top 15, top 10 defense, we'd still be having this conversation, I'd say you're totally crazy personally. And I've already said multiple times that if I'm going to trade for a quarterback, I love Wilson, but you go get the guy that's Deshaun Watson, who's 7 years younger. Can we all agree on that? Man, I sure hope so. So anytime we talk about trades, man, I love the Derek Carr people. They come out of nowhere. But I also love Raider Nation because they're not afraid to speak their mind either. So go down. Let me know right now. If Derek Carr is your quarterback in 2021, okay? I want you to like this video right now. I'm curious to see how many likes that this thing gets. I anticipate quite a bit of views on this video. So if Derek Carr is your quarterback in 2021, I want you to go ahead and like this video. All right, let's talk about the next thing here. Are the Raiders actually the favorite to trade for Russell Wilson? How many Chucky heads is this one? I'm going to give it only one Chucky head, and I think it's a small shred of truth. The reason why I'm bringing this up, though, is because I saw the latest odds, and the latest odds actually had this, where if Russell Wilson is traded, the Las Vegas Raiders have the best odds out of the 4 teams that Russ said that he would want to go to. So the Raiders are at plus 300. The Dallas Cowboys are at plus 650. The Bears were at 800, and then the Saints at plus 1,200. So I understand that they might have the best odds according to, our sportsbook partners. However, I'm just going to simply disagree. I don't understand how the Raiders could be plus 300. It's a little bit high to me. However, also, if you guys want other numbers, the Seattle Seahawks were minus 1,200. So obviously, they're pretty confident he's going to stay in Seattle. Now, if you guys want to stay up to date on the best Raiders coverage on the internet, plus, it's free. I don't know about you. If I can get free, I'm all over it. So go ahead and subscribe to the Raiders Report, keeping you guys updated, daily videos on the Silver and Black. Now, we're doing something special on today's show because I always try to say, hey, I go down in the comments. I see what you guys are doing, and I want you to go down and always let me know. So This is what I want you to do. I want you to not only subscribe, I want you to turn on those YouTube notifications. How do you do that? You got to go to the settings app, scroll down, tap YouTube. Are you tapping that? Hope so. Tap notifications, and then turn on allow notifications. Why should you do that? So you get updated. But I'm also going to be giving some love to the people who are going to be the first commenters. So shout out to the last 5 people, technically 3, who were the first commenters on my last 5 videos. So shout out to Rudy Lopez, Frosty Raider 2K, and Manny Valoaga. So out of the last 5 videos that I published, these were the very, very first comments. So make sure the notifications are turned on, and make sure you comment first, because my next week's videos, I'm going to be giving some love to a lot of the people out there who are joining the Noti gang and making sure that they are going ahead and commenting first. Raiders news, getting into it right here, Mitchell Renz. So we're going to be breaking it down. The Raiders, they made a move, 3 moves actually, on March 1st, where these were the 3 players that the Raiders decided to move on from, who also opted out. So you got rid of a linebacker, you got rid of Jeremiah Valoaga, and then DJ Killings absolutely struggling here. These were the 3 moves that the Raiders ended up making. So what I wanted to be able to figure out here is maybe some other moves that the Raiders could potentially make. The first guy coming up here to save some potential money, it's actually Trent Brown. 2021 cap hit is $14 million. If cut, the Raiders can save $14 million. He has never shown interest in being a Raider, and I think we would all agree here at this point, why would you hang on to a guy who has never really come out and just simply said that, hey, I want to be focused? I get that he's putting in more work in the offseason, but I have made this clear decision in my mind. You move on from Trent Brown, you save the money, and you go invest it in some other areas here, like free agency. And for me, when I look at some of the free agency players, I think that's actually the route that's probably the best for the Raiders to ultimately go to. So Trent Brown's the first player that I brought up here as a potential cap cut. The second player I want to bring up here is Marcus Mariota. I like Mariota a lot. He's a good quarterback. However, his contract is just a little bit too high. If he would be willing to maybe restructure it, hey, we'd love to have him back here. But if you can move on from him, you save $11.35 million. A lot of these moves that you're making, you're trying to save the money. That way you can invest it into the defense, right? So I get that he had 1 good game, and that's really what you see the numbers down below. 226 yards, a touchdown, an interception, and then he also had 9 carries for 88 yards and 1 touchdown. All right, the other player here that we're going to be breaking down is going to be Gabe Jackson, who originally I've talked about, and I didn't know if he was going to be cut. Now there's starting to be other reports out there that the Raiders could actually move on from Gabe Jackson, because it's a lot of money that they could potentially save. So if you keep him, it's $9.6 million. If you move on from Gabe Jackson, you can save $9.6. Now, they've talked about some other players at that position. Really curious to see what they do with a guy like Denzel Good. Do they want to invest and continue to invest in a young rookie in John Simpson? That's a whole other story. However, Gabe was really good last year. Like, he was able to fill in a lot of holes for a lot of different pieces, and was, I think, one of the biggest reasons why the Raiders' offensive line didn't crumble when all the injuries happened, like when Trent Brown couldn't play, when Richie Incognito couldn't play, when even Denzel Good went down with an injury. I mean, Gabe Jackson was just kind of being pieced around in certain positions, and I thought did a phenomenal job. Plus, he's definitely a leader on the field, and he's definitely a leader in the locker room as well. The last player that we're going to be bringing up here, it's Lamarcus Joyner, and I say potential cap cuts. This is a cap cut. I mean, they're going to get rid of Lamarcus, and if they end up keeping him, I will be absolutely shocked. If they decide to keep him, it's $11.2 million. If cut, the Raiders save $8.7 million. So sure, it's $2.5 million against the dead cap, but over the last 2 seasons, he's been, well, terrible. I mean, there's been a few games where he's made a few plays, and, you know, I've talked about it in the past. I don't know if he's made a play. He's made a few. But at the end of the day, you're not going to pay this guy all this money when you were hoping he could be a Swiss Army knife, and he's just never been a Swiss Army knife for you. So you get rid of Lamarcus Joyner, you save the money, and if you get rid of all 4 of those players, that's when you can really start to continue to save up money and invest it into the defense. So I'm going to ask you all this question here. Pick one to keep. Type TB for Trent Brown. Type JG for Gabe Jackson. Type MM for Marcus Mariota. Or I want you to type LJ for Lamarcus Joyner. So obviously, 4 players here, but you have to pick one to keep, okay? You could cut all 4 of them, but I want you to pick one to keep. Let's get into the next story here on the Raiders Report. Keeping Trent Brown. There's been some new stuff out there that the Raiders could be hanging on to him. They're seeing that he's working out. I'm not buying it. I'm going to give it one chucky head, small shred of truth. I've seen the reports out there, and I understand the idea that people are hoping that he can get his crap together and that he could be a successful player. The report is right now that there's an ongoing debate inside the Raiders headquarters to keep Trent because it's this. You see this humongous human being. When he is on the field, you're like, wow, this guy's really good. And he is really good. The issue is he's not ever on the football field, and he's never really shown that he wants to be a Raider, which absolutely drives me nuts, right? And the videos are out there. They are. He's working out on Instagram. He's posting these things on Twitter. He's doing this. He's doing that. Am I the only one, though, that when I watch these workout videos, I'm like, what am I watching here? Is this an NFL player, or is this a guy that should be on a reality TV show trying to lose weight? Like, no offense to Trent, but, like, that's what I see. And I get the idea that he's a great player, and I get the reports are out there, but I still am going to be pretty surprised if the Raiders do ultimately decide to hang on to him. So, how about this, though? I'm curious how the nation goes with this one. And I've seen already a lot of FTBs. Do you want Brown to be a Raider in 2021? I want you to type Y for yes, or I want you to type N for no. Do you want Trent Brown to be a Raider in 2021? Y for yes, or scrolling down in the comments section and type N for no. All right, the next thing we're going to be bringing up here is it time to cut or trade Trent Brown? I understand the report out there, but if I'm running the Raiders, if I am in charge of all the personnel decisions, this is for Chucky heads. It's believe it, baby, and it's not even flipping close. Now, when you look at Trent Brown, the reason why I'm doing this, I can save $14 million, okay? If you don't want to be on the team, great, get rid of him. He's a bad teammate. He's a locker room cancer, and I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Excuse me. Trent Brown, though, okay? Like, if you can trade him, you absolutely do it. The issue is I don't really see anybody trading for Trent because of his contract, and I don't know if anybody wants to take on all that money for a player who has just continued to show that he's just not very interested in playing in football, okay? Now, if you cut him, that's obviously a different story. That's the way that I think they go. I have some interesting pictures around Trent Brown and just proving my point yet again why I'm going to move on from him. So before I get into that, I do want to talk about today's sponsor a little bit more, Manscaped. Get the perfect package, 20% off and free shipping. How do you do that? You got to go to manscaped.com/Raiders, where it comes with the Lawnmower 3.0. You get the ball deodorant, you get the ball toner. The reason why it's called the perfect package for you new viewers out there is because of this. If you use all their products, you're going to have the perfect package. So Valentine's Day, it's hard to believe. It's already what? Wow. 2 weeks ago. Holy cow. But St. Patrick's Day, that's coming up. And if you didn't get lucky then, you might get lucky on St. Patrick's Day. Go to manscaped.com/Raiders. 20% off and free shipping. This is a deal for the nation. Just trying to look out for all the guys and shit, maybe even the girls out there. So go ahead, take care of your junk. I'm going to put the link. It's going to be available for y'all in the comments and in the description. It's manscaped.com/Raiders. One more time, 20% off and free shipping. So let's walk through some of these pictures here of why I want the Raiders to get rid of Trent Brown. Here is Trent before he signed his contract. This is Trent on the Raiders. I mean, you guys can see weight difference here. I mean, there's reports that he's getting close to 400 pounds. So one more time, Trent Brown. And now, what the Raiders got out of Trent Brown. You can clearly see a difference, right? I'm not being a dick, but it's the truth. How about this, okay? If somebody asked you on Instagram or anywhere, do you want to play for New England, and you liked it, what would that make you think? That you probably want to play for the Patriots. Okay, Trent, I get it. So after he deletes everything Raiders related on Instagram, he starts posting videos of himself with Patriot stuff on or Boston stuff on. So here's a video of him celebrating a Super Bowl. Great. Patriots gear. Cool. Here's a workout picture of Trent Brown in a Boston hat and a Boston shirt. Sounds like, and it looks like, this dude wants to go to Boston. But it's not just a recency thing. Like, that's one thing people are forgetting. Like, people are thinking, oh, it's just recency. No, this has been going on this has been going on for a long, long time. This is week 1. Do you see the only player in the middle of the screen not interlocking arms standing behind all the other players? It's Trent Brown. How about this after a big Week 1 win over the Carolina Panthers? Who's the only dude not in the middle of the huddle with his hands up? Trent Brown. Like, this has been an ongoing issue, and as far as I'm concerned, if you can get rid of this dude, he is an absolute cancer on your team. And if you're a guy like Jon Gruden, who wants to build a fundamental team that's all about, knock on wood if you're with me, buying into team chemistry, buying into a goal, how are you going to sit here and tell a younger player that that's what we're trying to do, and you keep a guy like this? It makes no sense. So as far as I'm concerned, you move on from Trent Brown. But if you do move on from Brown, I'm saying you got to sign one of these top 4 players here, okay? Now, Taylor Motton's going to be a little bit out of my price range, probably. Darrell Williams is interesting. Rick Wagner, you could probably get him for like $4 million. And also Kelvin Beachum, also probably available at $4.5 million. So what should the Raiders do here? Do you keep Trent Brown, type B? Do you sign a free agent like one of the right tackles that I just showed? Or we could maybe get creative and maybe move Colton Miller back to right tackle and sign a left tackle, type S? Or do you draft a rookie, type D? I am type S because if you move on from a big-time player like Brown, I still think you got to be able to bring in a veteran, and I don't really want to have to trust a rookie, especially when you're probably going to have to get that rookie in round 2, maybe even round 3 to play on the offensive line. So I'm going to type S, and if I could, I'd go get Rick Wagner or Kelvin Beachum in terms of best bang for your buck. All right, stick here with the offensive line. Richie Incognito. Are the Raiders going to be keeping him? I'm going to give it 2 Chucky heads. People are talking. This has been one of these players that I've talked about multiple times here on the Raiders Report, and I don't really know what they're going to do with him, right? So the good news is this. He's already running this offseason, so he's way ahead of schedule. He had surgery on his, I'm going to say foot/ankle/Achilles. So he missed 14 games this year, and he was originally dealing with this Achilles injury that turned into something like ankle-ish, foot. It's just got a whole bunch of things, right? Gruden, from what he's saying, that he loves his intensity and loves his leadership. I like Richie Incognito a lot. He's a fun player. He does bring the fire. I don't know if leadership's the word I would use, though. And if cut, the Raiders can save $5.6 million, okay? The other reason why I want to bring this up is because if you keep Incognito, it's kind of curious what they're going to end up doing with a guy maybe like Denzel Good. Do they end up bringing him back, right? If you decide to move on from Trent Brown as well, that's going to make another hole at right tackle because also Sam Young, he's a free agent. Now, if Incognito comes back, he will be the starter. He will be the guy pictured on this video where you see Denzel Good right now. And if he is fully healthy, bring him back in a heartbeat because he's one of the biggest reasons why. I think a lot of people are like, why did Josh Jacobs have a down year rushing the football? Not that he had a down year, but when Incognito's in the football game, he creates dominance, and he is one of the best left guards in football, especially at blocking. So what do you think the Raiders should do here with Richie? Do you keep him or do you cut him? So type C for cut, type K for keep. If he's 100% healthy, it's keep. If you can't guarantee me he's healthy, I'm going to say cut him. All right, how about this? The last story here. Washington football team, they tried trading for Marcus Mariota. This one's for Chucky heads, believe it, baby. Obviously, there's been a lot of rumors around Mariota, right? But they have been cooling off a little bit. So according to a report from The Athletic, the Washington football team, they tried to make a move for him back in February. What I'm curious about here is that the deal fell through. So maybe all the reports from a guy like Ian Rappaport was sending it out there. I talked about it here. I know Vic Tafur as well sent his thoughts out there where there were multiple teams interested. My only thing was this, if you had one offer for Mariota, you jump on it, you take the deal, right? Because if not, you're probably just going to end up cutting him, and then you don't get anything in return. So I'm curious to see ultimately what happens with Mariota, but there have been teams that have at least put offers on the table. But the fact that the Raiders didn't pull the trigger means that either they know somebody else is a little bit more interested and they're confident in that they can trade him, or they just honestly missed an opportunity. So what do you guys think? What's going to happen with Mariota? Type 1 for keep, type 2 for trade, or I want you to type 3 for cut. Obviously, it's hard to be able to predict what you're doing, but it's what we try to do here at the Raiders Report. 1 for keep, 2 for trade, or 3 for cut.